I'll tell you one thing. I would get me a long pole and try to get it out of the way.
I don't know. These snakes are coming out everywhere. I can tell you that. And hey, people, depending on where you live. Now, I have been bit twice in the past week by a spider. Once in the face, now once in my upper arm. And it happens when you go to bed at night. I checked my room after the first time really good around the bed and vacuumed really good. Look for any cobwebs or whatever. But, these things can hide. And this time of year, they look for something warm. So, there you are, nice, comfortable in your bed, and these spiders will crawl in and you move and they bite you. Now, depending on where you live, you got things like black widow spiders, brown recluse, are very bad because if you get bit by one, if you're allergic to it, a lot of people don't realize brown recluse spiders are more venomous than a rattlesnake. And one thing is worse about that, James. If you get bit by one, it destroys the tissue in the area where it bites you. So if you get bit in the forehead, for example, and these spiders are really small, but you'll have a scar because they'll have to go in and surgically remove the tissue around the bite, usually about a half-inch to an inch diameter. So my wife knew somebody who got bit, a lady in the forehead, and she had a lot of reconstructive plastic surgery done to, look good afterwards. Because, it doesn't just kill your tissue right away. It kills it over a period of time. So, that little thing, if it doesn't kill you from the venom and put you in the hospital, because it can cause you to stop breathing, it can cause your heart to stop, a lot of different things. A brown recluse. So, I'm telling people what you need to do is, especially this time of year, check your bedroom over really well. Vacuum around under your headboard and all that stuff and make sure you don't have, if you see any cobwebs or spider webs, get rid of it. Even maybe get some bug spray and spray or something. I don't know. It's not worth getting bit by one.
No, it's not. You want to also check your shoes, shake them out before you put your feet in them too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd be surprised if you have your shoes just sitting there next to the bed in the morning. Some little critter might want to go in there, get nice and warm and toasty. You put your foot in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, of course, the way things are going, it could be a little snake coiled up in there, too.
Yeah. Well, in other words, you don't want to take a bath. You don't want to take a shower. You don't want to sit down to read your newspaper. You don't want to go out to your car. You don't want to open up your car door because a snake could be underneath your dash and drop down. I tell you, I think it's earth changes. A lot of things are going on, and I swear there's been more reports of these critters doing weird things than I have seen in years. It's not a day on the news where these snakes, you don't hear stories. You never used to hear stories like this. Now it's almost every day, or sometimes, couple times, these snakes being really kind of assertive of what they're doing.
Assertive, that's a good one. Yeah, they're definitely being that. Let's take a little recap. They're in your toilet, they're in your pillowcases, they're in your garage, they're in your car, they're in your glove box, and they're in your ovens. It's not holding anchovies, it's holding the anaconda. It's getting out of hand over here, Gary.
It is. Now, could you imagine you have a dog and you have a carbon monoxide leak in your house and you're in bed sleeping. Now, this couple was lucky in Michigan. They survived. If it wasn't for their dog, their little dog, barking and waking them up and letting them know something was wrong, they would have never woke up in the morning. Now, that proves animals, are very intelligent. At least some of them are. I can honestly say the ones that eat wood tables aren't in that class. But there is animals that are really intelligent. When we first moved in our compound back 20-some years ago, my kids hung up Christmas decorations on our decking, which wraps around it did wrap around 3/4 the way around the house. And we weren't very smart. They plug into each other. Well, it was raining, and it caused a short. And evidently, the wires got hot and started a fire. And, we were in bed. It was kind of going towards morning time. And our little dog, who's no longer with us, kept running to the door, banging on the door, and barking. We got mad at it and told it to stop. And we even brought it into the bedroom. And it kept going back to the door. So we opened the door, and it kept running like a couple feet, stopped, turned around, and barked like it wanted us to follow it. And we followed the dog all the way into the kitchen, to the sliding doors that led out to the decking. And the decking was on fire. And the dog was telling us, hey, that dog saved our house, probably saved our lives.
Yeah, man, you might... Good point there. When you hear your dogs acting like that, they're probably telling you something, especially if they're not prone to doing that all the time. So they're trying to get your attention to something for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, a woman in New York lost her wallet during a trip into a local store, and a UPS driver found it and brought it back to her intact to her house and said, hey, ma'am, here's your wallet. Wow. Nice UPS driver that was on his route. And you know what? A lot of people aren't that honest nowadays.
No. The odds of that happening is pretty slim. Most people would be like, the first thing they do is see how much money they got, take the money, and then probably your credit cards, and then throw the wallet down.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine a loose hyena escape from a zoo running your up and down in your neighborhood?
No, because those things have a very strong jaw. They can crush bones, so they are dangerous.
Oh, yeah. So what do you got? Anything interesting in news that you can talk about for the next couple minutes?
Yeah, there's this one thing, sharks. There's been a whole gathering of sharks around, I believe it's right here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Massive group of great white sharks have been swarming around the North Carolina coast lately. And again, it goes right alongside with these animals we're talking about. Now, what's causing this? I don't know. The people don't know either, but there's been a massive cluster of these white sharks along the Carolina coast. And actually, they know some of them. One of them is called Luna. They recognize her, and she's 15 feet, Gary, and 2,137 pounds, and she's swimming with them either. Now, what's unusual about these cluster of great whites is they usually don't cluster together like this, and they're just hanging out there along the coast, and they don't know, again, is it the magnetic changes? Is it the change of the temperature of the ocean that's got them there? Because they're not usually there,
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of things. It's not normal going on. Again, the Earth is fluctuating on its magnetic field. And it could be fluctuating enough where it's going down to nothing and then back and nothing and where it's about ready to switch. Now, it could be confusing, these critters, these bees, these sharks, porpoises, whales, all this stuff. Because could you imagine where somehow they managed to navigate with that magnetic field? With it fluctuating and changing as what it's doing, I think it's changing, how they're, what all this stuff is happening.
Yeah. And, and again, mixed in with all these warm spells that we're having all over the place from Antarctica to even the Gulf Coast, because one of the theories is on them sharks that maybe they came up from the Gulf of Mexico into Florida and came on up to follow game fish, or fish of prey that they're, feeding on. And they think maybe it's because the temperature's been warmer and the water's been a little warmer, and it kind of throws them off along with the magnetic field. You throw that in and a few other changes. And these animals, it's not just sharks, it's, look at all the big birds that's been out of place. People are seeing them, I think, in places they've never been before, and I think they're sometimes mistaking them for Mothman, even.
Oh, yeah. And, that's the scary part. I mean, and I think we're into some world of hurt in the near future. Again, I did a lot of research, more this weekend, We just don't know what happens when the magnetic field flips. And I really don't want to find out, do you?
Oh, my goodness. There's been all kind of theories on that, from anything from total tsunamis and earthquakes and the volcanoes going off to nuclear clouds or nuclear winters. Who knows what could happen? I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I don't think I want to be around to find out.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting part. It's just all this stuff that's going on, and it keeps going on, and
Yeah, but there's nothing going on. It was 65 degrees in Antarctica. Hello.
Yeah. Well, it's 69. They did a revise on the weather. It didn't just hit 65. It hit 69 point something degrees in Antarctica.
Wow.
Now, I tell you, that is bikini weather. That is going out and not being cold. You could go out with short sleeve and shorts at 69, almost 70. And you're trying to tell me that is normal for that to be going on? That is not normal at all. Something is going on. This past summer, part of Alaska got up to, was it 90 degrees? Where it should have not ever been up of more than 40 degrees. You're talking a 50-degree increase in temperature. And, again, Antarctica is melting way faster than it seems now. You look at the news, it's changing every couple weeks, what they're forecasting, what the future is going to be like, because it's breaking up and melting. A big hunk just broke up, was it Friday, again from Antarctica?
I just reported that on my newscast last week. I think it was Friday, and that chunk was about the size of New York City or bigger. And people don't know that's like a 20-mile radius around. New York City is huge, and then it broke up in fragments. Now that's a lot of ice, and a lot of people don't realize the iceberg that you see on surface, 2/3 of that you can't see is underneath the water. So imagine when all that melts.
Oh yeah, then when it does melt, people are saying the sea rising isn't going to cause anything. It's not going to cause land loss. I don't know what they're smoking, but it sure isn't cigarettes and cigars or a pipe, because I can tell you, it is going to cause a problem, and it's going to be really, really bad. And I'm glad we have Whitley on the show on Friday, because we're going to be talking about his book that him and Art Bell wrote, The Superstorm. And
Thursday.
Yeah. Was it Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
I thought it was Friday, the 20th.
Yeah, 20th Thursday.
Okay, well, I lost time already. Ooh. But you know what?
Yeah, you did.
It's going to be an interesting show. I mean, what they predicted back 25 years ago is definitely happening. I mean, to predict time from minute to minute, from hour to hour, from day to day is hard. So they sat back 25 years ago and they compiled stuff like our weather changes, and they could see what was going on. And it has been going on, and it's now at the rate, it's shocking. It's speeded up so much right now. I don't think it's going to stop. I don't see any way it's going to stop. So I don't know. Some areas are going to go into a deep freeze. Other parts of areas are going to go into a desert. And where are we going to go? I tell you that. Don't buy property down on the Atlantic Ocean. Don't buy any property on the Pacific side, like in LA or San Francisco or places like that, unless you got really tall boots and a rubber boat.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you want to get right in the middle of the country where you think it's the safest, you're right on top of the super volcano. So you can't win for losing, Gary.
No, we can't. Well, anyway, we got the news coming up with James Krishbaum, talking about world events, all that, UFOs and all that stuff. And then at 5 after the hour, Tom Davis, a retired law enforcement officer, and more, is going to be talking about UFOs, abductions, and all this stuff. And he's in a great band where all our music, or most of it, is coming from them. Metatron Power and Light. So you want to make sure you stay tuned to that. But this whole week is crammed with a great show each night. So you know what? Tell your friends about Night Dream. Check out our website. at nightdreamstalkradio.com. We'll be back after James is done with the news.